There is currently a very large exodus happening from the flat earth community. And there is something very significant about it that people must be aware of. Now, before I get to that, I've now lost count of how many people have contacted me thanking me for creating the final experiment and helping them see the truth of not only the globe we live on, but more importantly, the reality of the community they were a part of. Here are just a few of the messages I've received. The impact of what you did with TFE will be talked about for many, many generations. It truly was historic on so many levels. I'm so thankful that I could see the truth with it all. Thanks again, Will. And then this one. Hi, Will. Just catching up on all your videos and just wanted to reach out and say thank you for making the TFE possible. It has changed my life. Your efforts have a ripple effect that is touching more lives than you know. My family and I are extremely grateful for you. God bless you and yours. All the best. And then one more. Hello, Will. Just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate the final experiment, and I can see how necessary it was to show the truth about our world. My husband and I were into FE for over 2 years, and we are so happy to be out of this cult. There were so many things that have been brought to our awareness that we didn't realize before, but it's so clear now. Jaron Campanella has a new series on his channel Jaronism called WWF, which stands for We Were Flat. He interviews those who are no longer flat Earth. So check those out and you can hear their stories and how they originally got into flat Earth and everything that contributed to them finally seeing the truth and getting out. Now, all of this is very encouraging, and it's what I hoped would happen when I originally created TFE. But something very disturbing is happening, and everyone needs to be aware of it. I honestly should have seen this coming because it happened to me when I revealed myself as the creator of TFE. But I didn't think it would happen to those who were actual flat earthers and in the community, some of them for almost a decade. And this behavior should send shivers down your spine and be a wake-up call to anyone who is still caught up in the lie of flat Earth. When I went public as the man behind TFE, immediately, flat earthers started calling me a fake pastor. They tried to find dirt on me and created complete fabrications about me in order to discredit me and TFE any way they could. Now, what's absolutely insane about that is that TFE was an equal opportunity for both sides, flat and globe, to prove their side. I created what I think is the greatest opportunity in the history of flat Earth for them to prove that the claims they had been making for years were true. And instead of the flat Earth community getting excited about this, they instead attacked me, called me a shill, called me fake this and fake that, and worst of all, fabricated stories about me without a shred of truth in them. Now, if you don't see what all that means, if it's not immediately clear to you why the flat Earth community chose to react to TFE in that way, keep listening because you need to hear this. And you need to understand what this means. Nothing may be more important for you to hear today. When flat earthers who said for years that a 24-hour sun was impossible on a flat Earth, and that there was no South Celestial Pole, and there was no geographic South Pole, and that the sun would set in a northerly direction if you were south of the Tropic of Capricorn, and so many other claims that were all proven completely wrong by TFE. When these flat earthers, starting with Jaron, admitted they were wrong, admitted that the AE map was wrong, acknowledged that the Earth cannot be flat, and that we indeed live on a globe, what happened to them? In any normal situation, people would just reach out to them and ask them if they could talk to them to learn more about why they've changed their mind. That's what a normal person would do. So is that what happened? Not exactly. What actually happened is nothing short of disturbing. Flat earthers, including those who were longtime friends of those now admitting they were wrong about flat earth, they started making up false stories about these people who simply admitted they were wrong about flat earth. You are hearing this correctly. They didn't reach out to their longtime friends. No calls, no texts, no attempts at hearing their perspective. Instead, they fabricated false stories about them and started spreading them around the community. How could someone treat another human being like this? There is nothing normal about this behavior at all. This feels very cult like to me. And let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about so you can see just how terrible this is. Jaron was told by multiple people since returning from Antarctica that he has been compromised and took a deal and sold out, and to watch him carefully because he is probably going to get a new house, one with a pool. Now, here's what makes me really angry. Prior to TFE, many of you know that it was exposed that Flat Earth Dave's app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, had little to no security on it, and practically anyone could access user data on it, including your password and home address. Now, when this happened, prior to TFE, Jaron told Dave Weiss that since his personal info was leaked, he would probably have to now move. But Jaron tried to stay positive about it and said maybe he could find an affordable place to live that had a pool. Are you starting to see how nefarious this is? So, things that these former flat earthers previously said are now being used as evidence that they are compromised, when in reality, it's just things they were already going to do and had expressed to some people close to them. You see, this has never been and will never be about truth. TFE is proof of that. If Flat Earth was about truth, the entire Flat Earth community would have jumped for joy at the chance for Flat Earthers to go on fully paid trips to Antarctica to prove their claim that there is no 24-hour sun. That in and of itself proves the Flat Earth community as a whole is not in search of truth. But this right here, this goes to a much deeper level, and it's despicable. This is about taking information you know about someone, including the truth behind this information, and then creating a false narrative, a complete lie, so that when it does happen, your lie that they are compromised and paid off will be believed. This is about as low as it gets. And here's the crazy thing. This isn't just one person doing this. I can't keep up with all the fabricated stories coming out of the Flat Earth community. Flat Earth Banjo posted this, putting words in my mouth and calling it Amazon The Volume Studios, implying we were in a studio, not in Antarctica. He calls Jaron a shill and falsely claims Jaron said the sun sets when everyone knows he actually said since. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, Flat Earth Banjo created an AI video with my image and my voice, which says that Jaron was paid to lie and that Austin Whitsitt was in on it and agreed to stay flat Earth to make the whole thing believable. How is this acceptable behavior to any flat earther? I can't find any flat earthers decrying all of this horrible behavior and standing up for what is right. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. Flat Earth is not about what's right or what's true. Patricia Steer, she is one of the longtime flat earthers who has now left Flat Earth and she recently bought a new car. Now, she's entitled to do that, as we all are, but the flat earth community is now using that against her, claiming that it's evidence she was paid off. Again, this is cult like behavior, and if you can't see that, you're probably in the cult. This is no way to treat another human being. This is master manipulation, although that sounds too nice. This is cold and calculated evil. That's what this is. So, what is Jaren supposed to do now? If he moves, which he wants to do, then all the gullible people will automatically believe the lie that he's been compromised and paid off. So he's essentially stuck. He's under house arrest now because of the actions of flat earthers. And what do other flat earthers do? Can they no longer buy a new car because a false narrative will be created and propagated about them that they sold their soul for money? I'm stunned that this is going on, and I honestly cannot wait to get out of all of this. I'm already planning a farewell live stream, and that will be the end for me. And another completely fabricated story was recently created about 3 specific people who have recently left Flat Earth: Robbie Davidson, Patricia Steer, and Paul on the Plane. And this one is so bad, it has led to legal action against the flat earthers spreading this lie about them, which they have no evidence for because it's nothing more than a made up story. Marty Leeds, a flat earther who refers to me as a mother effer, and I don't even know the guy, he made a video that was quickly shared all around the flat earth community and even mirrored on flat earth channels like Taboo Conspiracy. Now, Ben, if you really are a lawyer as you claim to be, I'm in shock that a lawyer, a real lawyer, would promote a video making egregious claims without any evidence. And I know you haven't seen any evidence because all of this was completely fabricated. And Marty Leeds' video insinuated that these 3 former flat earthers, Robbie, Patricia, and Paul, committed SEC violations and that they escaped punishment, including jail time, in exchange for flipping back to the globe.
They had a podcast. They had a YouTube channel. They were told, guess what? You guys were violating SEC violations, and we'll get into that, okay? And this is so. All you have to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is follow the money. This is an age-old tactic, right? It's like, how do you get to the bottom of this stuff? Well, just follow where the money goes. Money goes to one specific place. Next thing you know, all of them come out. Flat Earth is a cult. An SEC violation, Security and Exchange Committee, something like that, right? Has the threat of one violation up to 25 years in prison or jail or whatever. Doesn't even matter. And so then I guess the question is, if they're fully admitting that they were engaged in SEC violations and that somebody got to them, why weren't they charged?
Notice how he puts a picture of Patricia's new car as he says these things. To set the record straight, and again, I have to make this video because the flat earth community is not about truth. Robbie Davidson, Patricia Steer, and Paul on the Plane were never under investigation by the SEC. They didn't take a deal to avoid jail time, and they weren't paid off by anyone. These false narratives are created in order to keep the false narrative of flat Earth alive. That is why these false narratives are created. It is simply to keep the false narrative of flat Earth alive. When you don't have actual evidence for a flat Earth, and when you don't have answers for the observations and experiments that came from TFE, what else can you do? Apparently, this is what else you can do. And it sickens me, honestly. Go ahead and believe whatever you want to believe in. Not a big deal. But to stoop this low and do this to people who have done nothing wrong is horrendous. Thankfully, these three decided to stand up for themselves and issued a cease and desist to Marty Leeds, Flat Earth Dave, and Mark Sargent. Marty Leeds has since removed his video and issued a public apology, although he buried his apology by immediately uploading about 20 new videos on top of it. But I will put a link to his apology in the description below. If Marty Leeds even had a shred of evidence that these three had committed SEC violations or were under investigation by the SEC or took a deal from the government in exchange for flipping back to the globe, he wouldn't remove his video or issue an apology. But it was all completely made up. And you can get in trouble for doing that kind of stuff. Now, Mark Sargent and Dave Weiss have not followed Marty's lead as best I can tell. Mark seems to be doubling down and asking for a legal battle.
It's not going to happen. I am going to keep talking about this moving forward. If you want to throw me in jail, please try to do it. I would love to see you try. You will turn this into a circus. And the best part about it is you're going to end up paying for it while you're doing it.
I would love to see that one, in all honesty, but I know that only the real winners will be the lawyers involved. And Flat Earth Dave continues to spread the lies.
But then three other earthers that were kind of just in retirement pretty much, were just like not talking flat earth. They all came out on the same day. They flipped with the exact same script, the exact same talking points. Weird, right? But all three of them were involved in pushing a crypto coin several years ago. And they had their own show that stopped abruptly when the SEC came after them. And so they were never charged, right? Because a lot of people, including myself, lost significant amounts of money. And each one of those violations comes with 25 years in prison, consecutive, right? Perhaps I can't think of a better explanation that they were told that they need to flip, have these talking points. They came out with the same talking points on the same day, throwing out everything. So again, if something's real, there would be evidence. There's no evidence of the globe. I offer 3 Bitcoins still to this day for 1 globe proof, and there's none. The globe is, well, he's not going to pay anyway. The final experiment is proof. It's not proof.
Speaking of Flat Earth Dave, he likes to say during his interviews that he will gladly pay 3 Bitcoins for just 1 globe proof, and then says no one can even give just 1 globe proof to get 3 Bitcoins. Well, guess what? That's just another lie. And how many flat earthers fell for it? How many flat earthers believed that if there was even 1 globe proof, then they would simply give it to Flat Earth Dave and collect 3 Bitcoins? Too many to count. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little something going on behind the scenes. Flat Earth Dave was given a globe proof about a month ago. And this was an official submission for his public 3 Bitcoin challenge. And Flat Earth Dave won't pay up. Why is that, Dave? You know it's a globe proof. You know it's impossible on a flat earth. In fact, Flat Earth Dave won't even acknowledge this submission. Why is that, Dave? Oh yeah, because your challenge is not real. It's just another lie. Maybe this will also turn into a legal battle. Are you ready for that, Dave? I am.